Meanwhile, former President Trump returning to court this morning for an 11th day of the so-called hush money trial. Bombshell testimony yesterday as Stormy Daniels' lawyer took the stand, denying the payment from ex-Trump lawyer Michael Cohen was actually a hush money payment. Daniels' lawyer, Keith Davidson, said this, quote, "It was not a payoff, and it was not hush money. It was consideration. Consideration is a legal term from what somebody gives in return for a promise to abide by a contract. Prosecutors allege Trump committed fraud by labeling that payment legal fees." Joining me now is former Assistant FBI Director, Agent, and Attorney Chris Swecker. Chris, great to see you. Thank you so much for being here this morning. How do you see this?
Yeah, I think a very liberal Boston University law professor pretty well summed it up. He said, this prosecution is an embarrassment of prosecutive ethics and apparent selective prosecution. Is based on exaggerated legal theories and imprecise legal theories. So allegations. So this makes Alvin Bragg basically the Barney Fife of prosecutors across the country. I mean, this was a patently improper, illegal prosecution to begin with. It reeks of politics. And it's caused many people in this country to really shatter their faith in the criminal justice system. This just isn't how the criminal justice system is supposed to work. After 40 years, I've never seen anything like this.
And that's what we're getting from all independent-minded people that I speak with, Chris, that they can't find the crime. They don't understand where this is going. This is a lot of taxpayer money. So do you think Alvin Bragg cares? Do you think there will be any accountability for all of this? I mean, how do you think this plays out?
Yeah, I don't think he cares. I mean, he's one of these, a series of tin-horn prosecutors that want a notch in their belt for their own political reputation within their circles. So I don't think he cares. I mean, at some point, I think there's an ethical reckoning that has to take place with him. I really think that, and I know the defense is salivating for Michael Cohen to get on the stand because this whole case is built on a house of cards, but he's the linchpin, and he's what we call in the prosecution and in law enforcement a dirtbag witness. Hates Trump, proven liar, improper motivations, based on a prosecution that reeks of politics, as I said earlier. So Alvin Bragg doesn't care, but I think a lot of people in this country really do care. I think a mounting number of people in this country really do care. They want to see the criminal justice work the way it's supposed to and drain politics right out of it.
That's absolutely right. They want honesty and they want a fair judicial system, no doubt about it. And I think that's one of the reasons that Trump continues to do well and beating Joe Biden. Daniels' lawyer also testified that despite denying his ambitions, Michael Cohen was so depressed and despondent that he didn't land a job in Trump's White House. He thought Cohen might be a danger to himself, even detailing a call that Cohen made complaining to him about Trump, Chris. What might this mean about Cohen's motivations to testify?
Yeah, and this is going to be exposed on cross-examination, which is a great tool. It's going to be great theater. They are going to destroy him on the witness stand. His improper motivations, his antagonistic, resentment towards Trump, fueling this motivation to turn on him in this manner. He's lied and lied again. He's been prosecuted already. This guy, I can't believe that a prosecutor is going to put this guy on the stand. He will destroy their case. Well,
they're trying really hard to come up with other things that Trump is doing wrong. I mean, what about this gag order? Right. Chris, I got to get your take here because President Trump is slamming Judge Juan Merchan's gag order again yesterday as he faces 4 more accusations of violating this gag order. Watch this.
We're going to be appealing the gag order. I'd love to answer that question. It's a very easy question. I'm not allowed to testify because this judge, who's totally conflicted, has me under an unconstitutional gag order. Nobody's ever had that before. Other people are allowed to do whatever they want to us, and I'm not allowed as a presidential candidate, the leading candidate, the Republican Party nominee, and the one who's leading Biden by a lot.
It's amazing to me, Chris, that he has a gag order to begin with because he's a presidential candidate in a campaign. Joe Biden's all over the place attacking Trump in these swing states, say whatever he wants, and Trump has to watch every word.
Yeah, clearly a political judge. I mean, he's in the abyss of the politics of New York, and he should have stayed out of this. There never should have been a gag order. He ought not to, you know, Trump is pugilistic. He's going to fight every time and counterpunch every time. And this judge is down there with him, fighting it out. That's not what a judge does. He needs to be above all of it. You know, he is giving the appearance, this just adds to the appearance that the justice system in New York is slanted, that you can't get fair justice in New York if your politics don't fall in line.
So this is expected to go on several more weeks, Chris. How are you expecting this to play out? Do you think President Trump could face a jury and get convicted before the election?
Well, he could, but I think they will get at least one juror. I mean, I just can't imagine after Cohen testifies, after all the testimony, the judge there ought to be a motion for a directed verdict right after, you know, as soon as Cohen, right after he testifies. The judge can do that, you know, and the defense will make that motion. And a fair-minded judge would do just that. It should never even go to a jury. But if it does, I think there's at least one or two jurors that will be fair-minded, that they will leave their politics at the door, and they will vote the way a reasonable juror would vote. This is a selective prosecution, but it's got no evidence.
So you're expecting a hung jury then here?
At least a hung jury.
Yeah. Chris, I don't know, in terms of the next group of attacks and potential trials that the president has to face, how would you rate this one, the Alvin Bragg case, versus the others?
Yeah, this one's the least credible prosecution. I mean, the one in Atlanta is pretty bad. Misuse of civil RICO, that became a circus, and this is becoming a circus as well. But I think this is the least credible prosecution. I think Alvin Bragg is going to face some reckoning after it's over, because it's an unethical prosecution to begin with. Even the liberal law professor I cited said this is an abuse of prosecutive discretion. It's an unethical prosecution to start with.
Yeah, and of course we're waiting on the immunity decision from the Supreme Court, which we'll probably get in June.
Right.
All right, Chris. Good to see you this morning. Thank you, sir.